Hello learners, this is Habiba with Pedagogy of Social Sciences with the topic Aims and Objectives of Learning Social Sciences with the subtopic Writing Learning Objectives, Remembering, Understanding, Applying, Analyzing, Evaluating, Creating. In the previous class we have learnt about the revised Bloom's taxonomy given by Anderson and Krathwohl, in which how to write the learning objectives according to cognitive process we have learned. Under that we have seen the 6 tiers, which are these we are going to discuss today. Introduction. A learning objective should clearly define the expected outcome of a course in terms of demonstrable skills or knowledge that will be acquired by the learner as a result of the instruction provided. That means, what is a learning objective? It should be a clear definition of what the teacher is going to expect from the learners after his or her teaching of any particular topic. They guide our choices. When we have a clear focus, both we and our learners can easily get there. Well-defined and articulated learning objectives are important because they provide students with a clear purpose on which to focus their learning efforts. The learning objectives, what is the motive of these learning objectives? They guide us to our choices. When we write the learning objectives very clearly, focusing what the teacher wants to achieve from the learners, both the teacher and the learner easily can get achieve that goal or aim. How should be the learning objectives? They should be well defined and articulated learning objectives. They are very important because they provide students what is the purpose of learning a particular topic, why to focus on their learning efforts. Then inform our selection of instructional content and activities. Once the learning objectives are achieved, they will give one idea what should be done in the next level, how to arrange the activities, what activities can be done for the learning. Then guide our testing and assessment strategies. Obviously, it will guide, those learning objectives will guide to testing, evaluating, assessment of what strategies are applied, how they should be improved in future. Well-written learning objectives should include observable behavior which can be measured. That means those well-written learning objectives, how they should be observable behavior which can be measured. That means what a learner has achieved, that should be observable and that could be measured also. Learning and understanding are admirable instructional goals. So, learning and understanding, these are two very, very important instructional goals which should be achieved by the teacher and the learner obviously. Then training teams often lean on their good old instructional design standby, Bloom's taxonomy, to write learning objectives, action verbs that correspond to the cognitive domains within Bloom's taxonomy are much more specific and useful. That's why we use the taxonomy of Bloom's, which is revised by Anderson and Krathwohl. Whoever are the teams, they often depend upon these learning objectives of the cognitive domain, that means thinking level. Now let's understand these tiers, how these learning objectives could be written, what are the objective and example of these learning objectives. First one is remembering. As we understand the ladder, 6 tiers are there. The lowest one is the remembering. To acquire or to recall and recognize the facts, themes, concepts, principles, generalizations, theories, models and structures and other bits of knowledge in social sciences. Particularly we deal with pedagogy of social sciences, so we are understanding, in general anybody can take this, but particularly we are talking about social sciences to acquire. That means any theme or concept, principle, generalization, theories, models and structures and other bits of knowledge in social sciences, to acquire the knowledge, to recall them, to recognize them. It helps the learners in understanding social sciences. Obviously, when they remember the facts, concepts, obviously they will understand what is social sciences. In the previous class we understood social science meaning also. Social science means learning related to society, that means pertaining to society. Let's understand the learning objective example here, listing two uses each of natural resource and human resource. Then they will recall and recognize very easily when they list natural resources and human resources, the students. Then specifications, what are the specifications if we give that? That means recalling, recognizing. Obviously they will recall what are the natural resources, what are the human resources. They will differentiate and recognize both of them. Then second one is, after remembering, the next level is understanding. Learner constructs meaning in various teaching learning situations. Obviously whatever the teacher is giving the knowledge to the students, they will construct the knowledge. She understands if she can correlate and connect different concepts and bits of knowledge. Understanding supports logical and abstract thinking. Obviously when the teacher teaches the students bits by bits the topics, concepts, understanding will increase of the students, and it will support for the logical and abstract thinking. Logical means if it is happening, why it is happening. Logically they start thinking about it. Abstract means they feel. That means related to forest or natural resources, how to conserve them, why people are damaging the natural resources. They will be able to feel, and in future they will think about the conservation of those natural resources. Then learning objective example for this understanding is summarizing various steps involved in soil formation. For example, if we give soil formation, they will summarize the steps. What are the different steps in soil formation? Describe economic and social issues. They will be able to describe what are the economic and social issues are there in which influence the society to change. Then specifications. What are the specifications of this understanding? Explain, define, give example of, describe, estimate, recognize, identify, associate, interpret. That means the learning objective, how they should write this learning objective. The students will be able to explain. The students will be able to define the soil. The students will be able to explain the soil formation. The students will give the examples. The students will be able to describe about the different steps involved in soil formation. The students will estimate. The students will be able to recognize the different steps of soil formation. The students will be able to identify, associate. The students will be able to interpret. So these are how to write the learning objectives related to understanding. Now applying. After remembering, understanding and then applying, whatever the knowledge given to them, they will recognize or remember, they will understand thoroughly, and now where to apply this knowledge. Learner can use facts, concepts, principles, theories and solve problems in new situations to apply the acquired knowledge and its understanding onto a familiar situation. The teacher teaches one particular thing. When they go outside, they will recall those things and try to apply those things in real situations. That means a learning objective of example, let's see here, performing an activity using a current political issue. That means whatever activity, suppose elections are there, mock elections will be conducted in the schools for the children. When they will grow up, they will apply the same knowledge, and after 18 years they will also give voting. They will participate in political issues. For example, any child want to become a leader. If mock parliament is conducted in the classroom, in the future they will understand easily whatever procedure is there for the parliament. What are the specifications here? How to write the learning objectives? The students will be able to solve the problems. The students will be able to demonstrate. The students will be able to calculate. The students will be able to compile. The students will be able to illustrate. The students will be able to construct whatever knowledge is there, or they will apply. So this is the kind how to write the learning objective for applying. Now the fourth one, remembering, understanding, analyzing, and applying and analyzing. Now what is analyzing? To analyze the learned information in social science, breaking material or concepts into parts, determining how the parts relate or interrelate to one another onto an overall structure of purpose. That means analyzing means if the teacher has explained about any topic, they try to analyze the information and they try to break the information or material into parts, and then they will understand how they are related or interrelated to one another for the structure or for any purpose. Now let's see the learning objective example here. Making interpretations of the behavior of the people in a society. Obviously the teacher teaches them about the different states, different cultural people, different ideologies. They will enter into the society, they start analyzing the behavior of the people. Now what are the specification? Distinguish. Students will be able to distinguish, compare. Suppose the teacher has taught about religion, Christianity, Hinduism, Muslim, Sikhs, whatever, they will be able to compare or contrast, examine, arrange, investigate, criticize. If anything is not satisfying them, they will try to criticize, they will detect, debate, analyze, categorize, and discriminate. The students will be able to discriminate between Christianity and Hinduism. So these are the examples. Now the next fifth one is evaluating. To make judgments based on criteria and standards in social science, recommendations and reports are some of the products that can be created to demonstrate the process of evaluation. Obviously, after any learning, evaluation is very important. Make judgments based on particular criteria, maybe objective level test or aptitude test, or any MCQ, multiple choice questions, or small answer questions, or open-ended questions. Closed-ended questions are the MCQ, and objectives, fill in the blanks, matching, everything. Then open-ended, why, how, all these can be evaluated. Now learning objective example here, commenting on any statement. How we can evaluate them? Suppose the teacher has taught something related to any topic, they will ask their opinion, comment about this statement they will ask, or justifying the statement. If anything has been said, justify that. What are the specifications here? How to write the learning objectives? The students will be able to judge, the students will be able to predict, revise, or infer, or choose, determine and evaluate, defend, select, measure. Students will be able to conclude, justify, decide, or criticize. So all are the examples of learning objective related to analyzing. Now lastly, creating. Remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and now lastly creating. To create new ideas and information by using learned information in social sciences. Whatever information is learned, creating their own idea, new ideas, applying new ideas, whatever is learned. Creating implies designing, planning, writing, constructing, and producing through one's over imagination. There are certain topics in social science where learner can be given certain activities to collect data, gather information from various sources, and generate understanding of the concept in detail. Obviously, in social science, they will give some projects or activities to the students to collect different things, so that they will understand and they will apply their own idea how to do this activity. Now, learning objective for this example, preparing a PowerPoint presentation on Parliament, biography of some important persons, then soil formation, then enacting a play showing solar system. Very, very interesting it could be. They will very happily involve themselves with new ideas how to do that activity. What are the specifications here? Use, invent. Students will be able to design, create, devise or make. So these are the examples to write the learning objective here. So let's conclude this topic. The more specific the verb, the more clearly learners will understand what is expected of them once the training ends. Instructional designers should invest the time thinking about these verbs, which will form a large part of the learning objectives. So Bloom's taxonomy is a powerful tool to help develop learning objectives because it explains the process of learning. Before you can understand a concept, you must remember it. To apply a concept, you must first understand it. In order to evaluate a process, you must have analyzed it. To create an accurate conclusion, you must have completed a thorough evaluation. So, we come to the end of this session. Hope you liked it. Thanks for your attention and time. As motivation, please do like, share, subscribe. Happy learning.